Had to add some new sources. Hope that sounds okay and not too loud. Give it a second.
Go.
All right, everyone. Hope you're all having a great Jankuary so far, and thank you again to RGL and especially OJ for putting this event on. Turn it down just a smidge. So, Tough Turf is a game that's been featured in a number of RGL events, particularly the Coin-Out Classic. I believe at the very first event back in 2018, Lord BBH ran it, and then Murphigator ran it, I don't remember, 2-3 years ago. I've not run it in that event, but I have run it in other events. I know I definitely ran it for like, or there was a mini thanks that I did where I just played a bunch of arcade games and I put some emphasis on this one. This game is honestly not what I would call jank in the truest sense. As a beat 'em up, it's honestly fine, if not a little simple. The true jank comes in how this game is presented. This game is pretty special. For one thing, and for primarily the thing, this game has no established lore. So what I like to do if I get to play this game in marathons is to have you find viewers come up with your own ideas as to what the lore is. So I'll go ahead and... My button's not working. Oh, there we go. So like we do, apparently we pop off the back of a truck to start our beat 'em ups. I'll get our timer going.
Let's go.
There's a hidden bat back here. We're gonna snag this. As mentioned before, the gameplay is pretty simple, if not rudimentary. You get weapon, you use it, weapon's really good, does a lot of damage. Debatable is whether or not it's actually the fastest strat, but it is really good, and it's safe. Second thing to note about this game, the music in this game is incredible. It's a Sega Sunsoft joint, so it sounds just as good as any Sunsoft Genesis games, and there are a lot of good additions to those out there. But anyway, here's what we know so far. We are a blonde person in business casual clothes, jumped off the back of a truck, grabbed a weapon, and now we're just beating down random thugs that are approaching us. This is all we know about our plot so far. There is nothing about the presentation, release, configuration, you name it, of this game that establishes what we're doing and why we're doing it. So it's up to you all to figure out just what the heck it is we're doing. Why is all this stuff happening? What is our lore here? What is the purpose for all this? Is this a movie adaptation? Is it a book adaptation? Nobody knows. So whatever your guess is, just know that there's a non-zero chance that you might be correct. Also, this guy makes a funny noise when you hit him. So every stage is 4 segments, whether it be enemies or obstacles. This is the final segment for this stage. That was unfortunate. And our boss enemy is this Arnold lookalike. In some ways, this game is actually kind of a dangerous run to pursue, especially in marathons. You only get 1 life per credit, and you have to 1 CC the game to beat it. If you lose your life, it's game over. And there's no health ups. The only health you get is you get 2 of your 8 HP back at the end of a stage when you finish it. There's no guarantee you're going back to full. If you're at 3, you're only going back to 5. Another good track, by the way. Let's see, what are some popular conceptions about the lore of this game? I've heard some people say this is the video game version of the movie Falling Down. Probably inaccurate because that came out 4 years after this game was released. I've heard others say it's the video game version of the movie Tough Turf, same name. Spelled differently though. I think that one's a little bit more apt because, for one thing, the main character looks like Jamie Spader, who was the star of Tough Turf. So it has that going for it. But it's spelled differently. Tough Turf, the movie, is spelled T-U-F-F. It's in a slang form. That guy should be gone. Most enemies take 3 hits to KO with a weapon. Let's move over here. You can see the gameplay is really similar to what you expect from something like Double Dragon. I think that's what this game was trying to emulate. It came out the same year as Final Fight, but Final Fight hadn't quite revolutionized the genre just yet. So you got Sega essentially doing their own version of a Double Dragon clone. Where you going? I agree, although there's a heavier emphasis on weapon combat. Weapons in Double Dragon honestly aren't that good. Minus the knife. The knife's pretty good, but the knife's also a perishable weapon because you have to throw it. Okay, so the Mohawk enemy is the hardest enemy we're gonna have to deal with. He has a really good moveset and really busted range when he has a weapon. Okay, actually I had a really good fight against him. Pretty happy with that. Big thing with enemies is just make sure they line up with you and then hit them. Take this on. Also, you know it's a factory because there's factory written on the door. Anyway, to continue our quote-unquote lore, onto the sewer. We have a fun little exploit in this stage. I'm going to try and go to the very bottom pixel of this platform.
Go.
Kind of tricky. But it's a big advantage if we get it to work, because we can do that. This does require some enemy cooperation, but as you can see, it's incredibly powerful when we get it. We get one-shots for both this segment and the segment right after this. This one's a little bit tougher because we're a bit more confined. Gotta love the Let's Fail. The sound bites in this game are incredible. Like, the music's already really good. I did need great quotes to go with it too, but it does. That was very unfortunate. Oh my god. This dude is my nemesis right now. Okay. So this is actually a first time obstacle. These rolling pins can be a problem if I don't jump them correctly. Let me take some quiet time here. Those things do 2 HP out of your total of 8 apiece. You don't want to get hit by them. One last little exploit for the stage. Not quite close enough, but that's okay. Maybe it's okay. That was an unfortunate trade. There we go. That's not the only stage where you can get, you know, open pit exploits, but it's the easiest to abuse for sure. On to stage 4, even further into the sewer. I don't know what these conveyor belts are doing back here, but we're not going to be using them.
Yo.
So these guys in the jackets, a couple of things. They're a pretty dangerous enemy. They have a jump kick that moves really fast moving forward. So it's really good for them to close face with, and I would rather that not happen. If I could help it. And the second thing is we're going to be seeing a lot more of those guys in a later stage. In fact, the final wave of enemies in stage 6 is just a whole big group of those guys.
Come on, Pop, let's go.
Yeah, I think this game does have some appropriate jankness to it. Others may disagree, and that's fine. I think the fact that it really has nothing going for it in terms of the presentation and everything going for it all at once gives it some jank quality. Ooh, nice chain hit. Sometimes you can chain hit other enemies into other enemies, and you get more damage that way. Sometimes it can be enough to take an enemy out, like it was there. I mentioned the music in this game is really, really good. I feel like I may have mentioned that already. It's definitely the best thing about the game, but jank games are allowed to have good music. Go away. Want this one. Pipe's actually technically better than Bat because it does give you more points per hit. So if you're a score player, Pipe is required. Like, you basically have to use it. Alright, this guy is juking and I don't know what for. Our last wave of enemies for stage 4 has not one but 2 Mohawk guys.
Go.
I don't love that. These guys, despite their size, have really fast movement, particularly along the Z-axis. You pretty much always have to be mindful of that. They also have delayed wake up, which is really annoying. So you have to time your hits a little bit differently when you're chaining them. That was very unfortunate. This is also very unfortunate. Yeah, leaving that guy alive cost me a decent amount. Lost some momentum. 4 hits here should do it. There we go. Oh, I got the stand pose, cool. Down. Once again, everyone's having a great Jankuary. Customary elevator coming up for beat 'em up. But we can't complete the meme because the elevator is just a cutscene. It's not a stage. It just takes us right from stage 4 to stage 5. This is another stage where we can exploit knocking enemies off the sides of cliffs. I could technically do it in this first segment, but I think it's actually better to staircase the enemies like I'm gonna get ready to go do. If I can line them up here on the staircase and they behave somewhat, then I'll just be able to line them up for hits. That guy gave me excellent RNG. He went right to the bottom. I would disagree, but everybody's entitled to their opinion. At least I had an elevator. Alright, so this part's kind of tricky. This guy can close distance really well between platforms, which I don't love. Learned that strat this week, actually. It's working out really well so far. That was unfortunate. There we go. Jerk. Alright, so I'm gonna go for some exploitation here. Got this smelting vat over here. Let's see if I can manipulate these enemies to come down this way. They don't always cooperate, like that guy just didn't. But I always go for it. Okay, so this guy too. Very good. I gotta lure these guys over here. One might cooperate. Neither might cooperate. Both might cooperate. We don't know yet. Good enough. These conveyor belts also give us the option of being able to try to knock enemies into this pit, but it's pretty hard to set up. I don't normally go for it. There's a bit of randomness to it that I'm not a big fan of. Maybe I should have concentrated on him. This guy might hang himself, though. Okay, cool. He normally doesn't cooperate like that. He's usually content to try to go around the outside. But hey, we did it. On to another elevator. Another one we don't actually fight in. This one takes us to the penthouse. Isn't it pretty? Look at this rug carpeting here. Alright, this stage is actually one of the harder ones. Also, shout out to Spinny Guy. Easily the best enemy. I don't quite know what happened there. I think they just didn't finish his animation frames and he just spins in place. Twirling, twirling towards freedom. Forever and ever and ever. Uno, thank you so much for the 72 months. Dun 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 dun. Also, since I didn't mention so at the start of the run, I am staff member of RGLtv, LRock617. I play a lot of beat 'em ups, and I wanted to play this one this year. So I submitted it, and they said yes. Okay. Alright, this is a bit unfortunate. I'm a bit surrounded here. Off-screen pickup, Natch. Go away. We're going this way. Another quick group of enemies here. Really? That didn't hit? I call shenanigans, but apparently what I think doesn't matter. Alright, we're coming out swinging. Alright, so we've been working our way all the way up through this, from the sewers to the penthouse. And we still don't really know why. Also, this wave of enemies is one of the hardest in the game. Because if they choose to close distance, I am in trouble. Not bad. Knives are also dangerous. We don't want that. They have really slow startup, but they can whiff punish practically anything. That was actually really good. I don't think I've ever had that segment go that well. Alright, on to stage 7, which, small spoiler, is our last full stage. Also one of the harder ones. We only have 2 waves of enemies, but they're both particularly difficult to navigate. Because if one thing goes wrong, we can lose it all. So jump kicking through a door is just the coolest entrance, and I won't be taking questions. Really wanted that. Huh. That guy doesn't normally run away like that. That's weird. That's also unfortunate. Alright, I got work to do. I have to get one of their weapons. I kinda got screwed here. Yeah, that happens sometimes. Wow, okay. Really didn't want that to knock me down. Yeah, he can close that distance better than I can. He has the chest bump, and also his normals sometimes have more range than your weapon. It's especially the case if he's on the Z-axis. I got a lucky break there. Not so much. These are tough today. Alright, there we go. And you say that. Anyway, check out our painting back there. Don't mind the eyes. Sometimes you get in their line of sight, they just get to hit first. It makes sense, but it's also annoying. I need you gone. Out of the way. Sometimes it's better just to sidestep and have them intentionally miss an attack and just keep moving than it is to be aggressive. Unfortunate. I thought I had better positioning than that. I cannot believe I avoided all that, but here we are. Did not want that to be a trade. This is what I was talking about when I said this stuff can get tricky. Like, I can't generate advantage on any of these guys. Because if I try to stand over one to get a hit in, another one's just gonna come after me. So I have to play super safe. I also lost a lot of health during all that. That it? Okay. More rolling pins. 4 sets of these for a 3rd segment. Also, check out the guy on the throne. His lips quiver when the pins are rolling. It's like he's trying to make the noise himself or something. Alright, there's that. Alright, so for our boss, which this is the only stage that has an actual boss. Just do hits, run. This does more damage. There's a safe strat where you can just use jump kicks. Move in and out. That was unfortunate. I did not want that to be a trade. I say that a lot in this game. Now that we're done calling him a chump, we get to proceed with our game. We have rescued this woman from behind bars. So this woman's got some tone, doesn't she? We're gonna be walking after her. Apparently we're getting fresh. I don't know, but either way, we're gonna go meet her at the rooftop for the last stage. And it turns out
Come on, let's
she was the boss all along. That means she was leader of a crime organization? We don't know. I tried to anti-air, I missed it. That's fine though. Alright, cool, that's time. I was trying to knock her off, but I'll take just full health. She doesn't have a lot of health, so you can just drain that pretty quickly. That'll finish the game off, but now for the real meme. That's in addition to not having any lore for this game. When you finish this game, the score indicator tallies how much time you have left and gives you an additional 10,000 points for each second you have. The funny part is that it counts it down once per frame. There's no way to go this. There's no way to make this go faster. There's no way to skip it. You just have to wait through it to find your final score tally. So it's a meme. Your guess is as good as mine. That's the point. This game has no established lore, so whatever your assumption is, you might be correct. We don't know why. I believe it was Infinite Mystery that referred to this as the game, quote-unquote, doing its taxes, and that's about the best description I could ever hear for it, I think. What a meme. I think we're gonna have probably in the high 8s, low to the low 9s. I want to say like 9.4 million is my PB on this game. It just keeps going. I mentioned a lot of things this game are just incredibly tacked on. So silly. 8.8 million, sure. That's probably about right. And for the last little cutscene, we get this little ditty. It shows us standing over her prone body after we just beat her up. And that's our ending, I guess? We don't get to know anything else beyond that? She got herself locked up, we rescued her, she then tried to fight us. We took the fight back to her, and that's the game? And we still don't know why any of this happened. Happy JANKUARY, everybody. Let me thank you all for the GGs. Of note, this game was developed and released in Japan by Sunsoft and then by Sega in the US. Go ahead and get our initials in here since we're allowed to do that. There's no dash, so I'm gonna go for Jank University. Alright, y'all, thank you again so much. Looks like we've got some more jank coming up next by OJ, doing some retro versus modern speedrun games. Take care, y'all, and have a good one.